Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing on this fine evening? I'm sure all of us are very excited for this session because, same here, I am Dhwani from Geeks for Geeks, and I will be your host for today's session. Type in the chat. What are your expectations from today's session? Are there any questions that you've been asking, have been wanting to ask someone, but like you haven't been able to? Just type it in the chat. Well, I'm sure everyone out there has a lot of questions. Like there are some things that we just do not ask so many people. So we have a special guest with us who will be taking up all those questions that you all might have and answering them. I welcome you all to this interview preparation series by Geeks for Geeks. And today we have a very eminent personality with us who will talk to us about the various do's and don'ts during the interview preparations and guide us through the right roadmap to jobs at A-list companies. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Ms. Shivani Reddy, who is a software development engineer at PayPal. Hi, Shivani.
Hi Dhwani, hello everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. So I'll just give a brief introduction about today's guest. Ms. Shivani has worked on various technology stacks, including Java, Spring Boot, Node.js, Express.js, and Angular. The list of achievement goes on and on, but without further ado, let's dive into this info session with Shivani. So, Shivani will take up some questions that our team has already prepared, which we have got from many people, and then we'll take up some questions from the chat as well.
Sure.
So, the first question that we have is, can you give us a brief intro about you and the company you are associated with?
Sure. Hello everyone. I'm Shivani. I'm currently working as software engineer 1 at PayPal. Prior to that, I worked as software engineer 1 at Hashdin for a duration of like 6 months. And I am a 2021 graduated from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. And the company I'm associated with right now is PayPal. I always wanted to work in a company with a good work life balance and culture, and hence PayPal was top on that list. I prepared for all the interviews and gave the interviews, and finally, I'm here at PayPal.
So, how is life at PayPal?
It is very good, more than expected. People here are very helping. Senior fellows are really helping. They clear each and every doubt that you ask them, and they give enough time for you to learn any new tech stack or so at our own pace. It is good so far.
I'm sure working at a A-list company is an amazing experience, and most of us in the chats are here, like to be able to get that experience. So, my next question is, how did you land your current role at PayPal?
Sure. I came to know about this opportunity through LinkedIn. Then I managed to get a referral for the same. I applied for this role through LinkedIn. So after applying, say after some weeks, I got a mail from recruiter saying that, hey, we have screened your profile, and we feel like it would be fit for the current openings, and we would like to proceed further with the interview rounds. Then I replied with a yes. Then later I got the online assessment link, gave the online assessment. Then my technical interviews were scheduled, followed by hiring managers round, and my the results came back positive, and hence I landed in my current role at PayPal.
I'm sure you were very happy about the same. So, you were talking about LinkedIn. How important is a well-groomed LinkedIn profile for a professional?
It is very important actually, because if it is very well updated time to time with your skills or any kind of certifications or any kind of achievements that you have achieved, there are high chances that recruiters directly contact you through LinkedIn. And also, I would say I've got to know about this through some LinkedIn post. Some employee has posted about this job openings and all. It is also good to, be in contact with the persons from A list companies if you want to work with them, so that you will get to know about the updates about the job openings and all those things. So yeah, that's very
So
important.
recruiters do actually recruit from LinkedIn, right? So like what are the kind of things that they look forward in the candidates? Like I see a lot of people post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. How do we ensure that our content is quality worthy? Like people will actually notice the content.
I would say if it is more aligned towards technical side, that would really put a great impact on your profile. And you can also show your interest or any kind of work, previous work that you have worked on, any kind of new projects or new achievements in any technical hackathons. All these things indirectly showcase your skills, how well you are versed with all these technologies. So time to time updating these things would definitely be a plus point.
Right. So the next question is, how many interviews did you have to go through to, like get the proper job at PayPal, and how did you prepare for them?
So in my case, I would say there were like two technical interviews followed by a hiring manager's round. The first technical interview was completely DSA and problem solving. I was asked four different problem solving questions. I could give the solution to all of them, but have written the code for only three of them, and gave the solution for fourth one. He kind of seemed satisfied with it, but due to time constraint, we could not code that further. And later that second round was scheduled. Second round was one coding question and low level design and project discussion. The coding question was like hard level of difficulty, and there was a very good project discussion. It was a fruitful discussion, I would say. uh, he was asking a lot of questions about the project that I worked on, like how did you end up choosing this tech stack, how did you learn this tech stack, what were the challenges you faced, and all those things. You should be well prepared, I would say, when you are mentioning or talking about your projects. And then he gave me some problem statement. It was related to low level design only. Even there we had a very fruitful discussion. I was giving him my inputs, he was also very interactive. That went well. So later, say like 3 to 4 days, my hiring manager's round was scheduled. uh, and the hiring manager's round, again there was a coding question. This time, the manager asked me to actually compile and run the code. But for the previous rounds, it was just like writing the code in the document and all those things. And after that was done, he asked me about the various tech stacks I worked on, and what I'm looking forward in this job, and some of the theoretical questions, some questions related to my project too. So that was my hiring manager's round. Yeah.
So what
And
kind of sources did you use for preparation of these interviews?
I would say most of my preparation was done during my fourth year placements only, that is last year. uh, and I was good at DSA problem solving and all those things at that time only. When I finally thought of switching the job and applied for PayPal, then my preparation focus entirely shifted to PayPal interview preparation only. I would say how I search for the PayPal interview experiences. You can find many of them in Geeks for Geeks also, and also some people post it on Lead Code too, and other platforms also, their PayPal interview experience. Then I used to make a list of all these questions and solve those questions on a daily basis. And also I used to read the entire interview experience, like uh, what were the questions they've asked and how this candidate has given the answers. And also there are some behavioral questions also that people mention what were asked there. I would also make a list of those questions and prepare for them. Mostly this time preparation was specific to PayPal only, because most of the preparation was done before only in my case.
Right. So you mentioned that you refer to a lot of interviews, like a lot of people's interviews. So how has the recruitment procedure changed over all these years? I'm sure you would have referred to a lot of old interviews and you yourself gave an interview. So how has the recruitment process changed over all these years?
I would say there were some changes in number of interview rounds also, and I would say there used to be some entire specific rounds for behavioral questions also. Now I think it was not there, at least in my case. And yeah, these were the different patterns that I've saw, and even I expected that I would be having a separate behavioral round also altogether, but it was not there in my case. Mostly I would say it would change from role to role, and also to person's experience to experience, and all those things does matter.
Right. So the next question is, a resume sure does play an important role while landing a job, like because people actually see your CV before they see you. So how is
Yes.
your resume different from that of your colleagues? And like how do we make sure that our resumes are up to the mark as well?
Sure. Resume does play an important role. It is like the first screening for the candidate. So, I would like to share some of my tips that I followed in my resume preparation. I would say mostly go for one page resumes. Always keep in mind for resumes that less is more. For this, I mean, don't be more descriptive. Use keywords and highlight those keywords. Mention technical skills which you've worked on, and do not mention those things which you're not completely aware of, because the interviewer may pick that point and start asking questions on it, and you'll be in big trouble. Do not do such things. And mention projects that you've worked on. When it comes to project, I would say mention only those projects that you own. By own, I mean that you have worked on by yourself, so that you can have a very great discussion about them in the interviews. You can see in my case, there was a very big not big very good discussion about my projects in the interviews. So if the interview is asking you any kind of questions related to projects, you should not be in a state that you are not able to answer. You can only answer them when it is done by you. So make sure you are doing it by your own. And then I would say, do mention your achievements, anything that you've participated in, secured any good rank in them, anything like coding contest, or I would say hackathons. Mention those things. Yeah, that was mostly what I followed.
Right. So the next question is, are there two separate processes for graduates and interns? Like getting a job at PayPal.
Okay, I am not so sure on this, but when it comes to interview processes, I would say it would be in similar lines only. For graduates and for interns, there, I don't think there'll be much difference in that. Well, I'm not the correct person to comment on it, I guess. And also, even when you have joined the company as an intern, I would say you'll be given a mentor there at PayPal, and you'll be working under them. They'll be guiding you, they'll be solving your questions and all those things. But when you join as a full-time employee, I would say you'll be working in a proper team, uh, under your manager and all those things. Yeah.
So, how important is an internship to be, like added to your CV? Not just for the part of CV, but is it actually important, like get work experience before actually going into the company?
Yes, it is very important. I would say even I had done one internship from Hashden. Uh, what we feel from college about the corporate world is actually different when we actually work in it. So I think before joining any company, internships will give you that very good experience. Um, you will get to know a lot of things that you didn't know existed in college. There are a lot of things going on in the companies. You can get a gist of all those things. You can understand the systems. You can understand how to write industry level code and all those things. And attending calls, meetings, all. it's altogether a very different world, I would say, from college. So uh, doing an internship will give you a very good experience, and it will also add a very good plus point in your resume, I would say. Yeah.
So we have a question from the chat, like, how do you prepare for an internship interview? Because honestly, when you apply for internship, you don't have a lot of work experience. So, but still, companies ask for work experience. So, how do you prepare for that interview and you like go on with that?
Okay, I would say when it comes to internship interviews also, uh, mostly for product based companies, they would expect problem solving skills, data structures, and algorithms from you only, mostly. And some of the questions too related to the uh, work you are going to do as an intern. Like, if there's any opening for a company, say it is for an intern, you'll definitely have the job description there, basic qualifications there. By that you'll get to know what kind of work you're going to do in the company. Let's say you're going to work on Java related technologies, or iOS, or Android, and all those things. So talking very specifically for that particular internship, I would say prepare well with your DSM problem solving skills, and also go through the job description. If you feel that you are interested in it and you know anything for it, do prepare for all those questions, because that is what you're going to work as an intern.
Right. I guess that helps a lot. So, the next question is, what do you think PayPal is exactly looking for, whether it comes to interns or the people who apply for jobs?
I would say PayPal is looking for people passionate about coding, have a very good understandings of the technical skills, tech stacks, and is good at problem solving and data structures. I would not say complex data structures or all those things, but to a certain level you should be good at them. You should have a very clear understanding of how things and why things are working. And if you're someone good at Java or Java related technologies, I would say that would add a plus point, because as most of you all know, PayPal works mostly in Java. And even if you are not good at it, it is not going to be a very big differentiator, but I would say these points would add.
Right. So there is a question in the chat. There is two part. There's a two-part question. First was how to prepare for a particular MNC interview, but you have already answered that. So do you have any specific project tips that you would like to give to the audience, so like we can get a streamlined path to it?
Okay, sure. As I've already mentioned the importance of project, I would say uh, most of the candidates these days are aligned towards problem solving and DSA. Most of the people are CP guys than project guys. Even I was one of them. I used to do a lot of coding, but I didn't know what to do when it came to project. So I would say, if you're someone struggling to choose a tech stack, or choose the problem statement for your project, I would say uh, go on internet and search for the things, search for those things. And if you still do not feel confident, I would say uh, group up with your friends, come together, form a team, and you all say you are a team of 4 people. Make a team, and then choose one problem statement, start working on it. uh, this way you do not feel that you are alone, you will work with the people, and also through this you can show your teamwork skills to the interviewer. Yeah. Firstly,
I Yeah, go on.
yeah, firstly understand which tech stack you're comfortable with, then filter out the projects, then form a team. Still, if you're not comfortable, then I think you're good to go.
Right. I actually agree on this point that teamwork is very important when it comes to project building, because once you get into the companies, I'm sure you need to understand how delegating works. I mean, I
Sure.
personally am working on a project and I understand that being able to coordinate a team is actually one of the skill set that is required. So we have one more question from the chat, that from which year did you start preparing for your job interview?
I would say when the COVID hit. I was in my sixth semester then. So I started preparing from that time. Even college was not there. I got a good amount of time there. I started preparing for them. I have started from basic things first because I wanted my basics to be clear and crisp. First, I started with all the data structures, understood them, then algorithms, then solved some bunch of questions from each of the topic. Then there are some set of standard questions for each and every topic. When you solve them, then for practice I used to do more and more questions. Then you will start observing a pattern, like uh, say you have solved some standard questions from a topic, say DP, dynamic programming. Then whatever questions you solve further, you'll start understanding like this is just a new version or different version of the old problem that I've already solved. I think you should be able to get at that stage where you should have a clear understanding of, okay, this problem can be solved with this data structure, this algorithm, or this is the same algorithm but this different variation, this is the slight different version of that. I think that this is possible only when you do a very good amount of practice, and then start giving contests too, so that you are well versed with the time bound environments. Yeah, and all those things. Then start focusing on your projects, I would say. Then start focusing on CS core subjects. Yeah. And from which year you said? I would say third year ending, sixth sem.
Right. So, like you're talking about how important DSA is. I mean, I personally have been doing DSA. It's all linked list, tags, queues. Like you see the same set of problems everywhere, like insert in a linked list, delete from a linked list. So, like what kind of problems, what kind of websites should we refer to, like to get a proper hold of the type of questions that can be asked?
Well, I have you know practiced in multiple websites, I would say, starting from hacker rank only, hacker rank, then hacker earth, then code forces, then lead code, then geeks for geeks. I have practiced in multiple, but now settled finally in lead code. I would say lead code is a good platform. It is more specific to DSA only than competitive. I That's my personal opinion. So you can go for that website. Yeah.
Right. So the next question is, does PayPal hire through a referral?
Yes, it does. I am an example for it, I would say. uh, I have applied through referral only, but the thing here is, though you have applied through referral or directly from the career portal, there's going to be another screening after that from the recruiter's end. Only if the recruiter feels you are fit for the current openings, then they are going to you know communicate with you or consider you. There's going to be another screening there. Doesn't matter it's through referral or directly from the career portal.
Right. So there is one question, like it is more of a personal question. Like, what was your first job and like which company did you first work in before PayPal?
Okay, it was hashed in by Deloitte. I interned there in my final semester, in my eighth semester, then got converted to full-time employee there.
Right. So, like I can understand a lot of campuses do not get a lot of good companies. So there is one question that if your campus does not, like get in a lot of good companies, how should we go about with the off-campus placements?
Yeah, uh, I think I'm a very good example. All the companies visit to my college were service based only. So, but I would like to work for product based ones. Even Hashton did not visit my company. I applied for it through referral, and PayPal also I have applied off campus. All the jobs that I got were off campus only. I would say be more active on platforms that do post job postings. Then start applying for them. Start applying aggressively for them if you want to get into a good product based company. And Do not get do not put this thing in mind like good companies do not visit my college. Put that thing aside, we are not going to change it anyway. So let's try focusing on applying off campus more and more. uh, Better get a referral, or also if you do not get a referral, you can apply through the career portal also. All the thing that matters is your resume, because that is going to help you in getting the online assessment or any such things. So yeah, whenever I mean, whichever platform that posts this job more, be active in those things and apply for them.
Right. So, what are the don'ts that a person needs to make sure that they don't do? Like, what are the things that a student should not do in a PayPal interview?
Okay, I would say, first thing I would say, do not turn your interview session into a simple Q&A or viva session. Like, do not just wait for the interview to ask your question, then you immediately start solving it on your own. I would say make it more interactive as possible. If you are given a question, ask him any follow-up questions on it. Make sure you are very clear with the question, then you jump into the solution. And whenever you are trying to give the solution, do not jump into the most optimal one. First tell him the basic naive or brute force one, then go to the next optimal, then finally the most optimal one. And at each solution, make sure to explain how you're changing the time or space complexities there, and which data structure you're going to use, and all those things, why it is fit for that solution, and all those things. Yeah. Next thing I would say, uh, do not ignore any behavioral questions. These are very important, uh, because behavioral questions seem very generic or common in nature, but they are not when it comes to interviews. Uh, and Also, most of the behavioral questions uh, are better to answer from your past experiences. And do not make up any questions there, do not fake any answers there for what they're asking. Make sure they are from your past experiences. And because when you answer something that is not from your past experience, or you're just faking that answer, there are high chances that the interview caught you, and because the next question is going to be on your present answer also sometimes, so you can be in trouble there. So make sure you're well prepared with these behavioral questions beforehand. And third thing I would say, do not use any technical jargons that you are not completely aware of. When the interviewer asks you a question, make sure you're telling it in simple terms, short, clear, and crisp. Do not use any complex terms that may get you in trouble. Because the interviewer is again going to uh, you know ask question on that term, then you'll be completely dead silent. So do not end up in such situations. Make sure you're answering in simple terms.
So, short answer, honesty is the best policy. Make sure you don't fake anything.
Sure, yeah.
That's actually true, you know. So there is one question, that is there an eligibility criteria to apply, like some GPA score or something like that?
um I honestly don't know about this, but I feel it is somewhere, the CGPA should be 7 or 7.5 above. You can find this easily in the qualifications in the job description. They'll post about the qualifications and all. Yeah.
Right. So another question is, personally, which technology stack do you prefer for front end coding, like JavaScript or TypeScript?
um I feel like it uh, depends on the framework that I'm using. uh, uh, Actually, I would say both are similar, only TypeScript is just JavaScript with type, mentioning types and all those things. So I think I prefer both of them. Yeah, I when I worked on Angular, especially for some project, I used TypeScript there. Um, yeah.
Right. So there is one question that I also wanted to ask, like how do you get a referral? Like not from LinkedIn, if you do not connect to an individual, how do you generally get a referral?
Okay, so in my case, I would say I have sent some connection requests to the fellow employees working there in those companies through LinkedIn. And keep this in mind, not everyone accepts your request, not everyone can reply after you send them message. So try pinging multiple people, and you know do not simply ask, hey, I just want a referral, please give me the referral. So but be more descriptive why you want that job, what are the experience you have, and do share your resume there, and do share the job ID there. Do not ask them directly, are there any openings in PayPal and all those things. So send them the job ID that you are interested in, and send them your resume, and ask for them. I think most of the times you can get referrals only when your resume is fit for the job role that you're looking forward for.
Right. So, as I am also a college student, I also have this question that there are a lot of subjects that we study throughout the 4 years, like OS, DBMS, computer networks, and so many more. So, how important are all these subjects when it comes to actually, like dealing with the interviews?
They definitely are important. I would say most of the times you will get questions from a DBMS only. Make sure you're very good at it, and also you're good at some of the SQL queries writing. Uh, and OS also is very important. I would say CN is also there. Make sure you are having good knowledge about it, and most of these questions are asked in fresher interviews only. So I think most of you all here are looking for are college students only, looking for fresher jobs only. So I would say dedicate very good amount of time in these things, understand the concepts, be good at DBMS, writing some SQL queries also.
Right. So like I understood that everything from the technology stack is very important. Like you need to choose a domain and then you need to work hard in it. So what do you think? Like are the co-curricular activities like throughout the college, the co-curricular activities that you do, are they important when it comes to like getting into a professional line?
um, I I definitely think they are important, but they are not, in my case at least, they are not much stressed in the actual interviews. Because in the actual interviews, most of the time they ask you about your technical skills only, questions related to technical skills. Some of the times they ask about, they look into your co-curricular activities list in the resume and start asking questions in them. I would say in my college career I used to you know host or organize some of the technical events. I don't know how much that impacted in getting the role, because there was no discussion about it in the interview. But I would say when the recruiter or the when the person trying to give you referral, or when the recruiter feels that you should move forward with this interview process and all, will definitely put an eye on that. I would say that that is very important also, not just for interviews, I would say, but to develop some of your soft skills too. Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah, it
actually
is
believe
required to mention if you have some. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually believe that, like once you do co-curricular activities, once you start managing stuff, you actually get some confidence out of it. So,
Yes, yes.
this question has been very, like popping in the chat again and again. What kind of projects should we work on?
um, I would say it is completely dependent on an individual, like what he or she is interested in. Let's say someone is interested in back end, front end, and there are a lot of technologies. So based on your interests, you can work on them, you can build a good project on them. And yeah, that because I'm saying this, whatever you are interested, work on it, because you will be confident on it, then you will be able to answer any kind of question that is being asked to you in the interview.
Very truly said. I mean, you should do the work you're excited about. There's no going around it. So I guess that's it for the questions that we have from the chat and the questions that I had. So that really explained a lot, Shivani. I really like enjoyed this session, and thank you so much for such an informative session and for answering all of our questions. So for the people in the chat, you can connect to Shivani on her LinkedIn, and I'm sure like you can get inspired by her profile, and like get into the things as well. So thank you all so much for joining, and if you wish to be a part of the other sessions or like webinars or interview preparation series, you can check the links in the description. And I guess that's that. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Have a great day ahead. Thank you,
Thank
Shivani.
you, thank you, Dwani, thank you everyone, thank you to the whole team of GFG. Have a great evening.
Thank you.